Charlie Christian invented electric jazz guitar as we know it today. So many people have heard the name, but so few have actually heard him play. Taught by his parents, he invented the single-note style that has been played by hundreds of jazz musicians ever since. Charlie Christian didn't just play the guitar, he reinvented it. His revolutionary techniques, from single-string melodies to long, winding melodic lines, shattered conventions and expanded the sonic possibilities of the instrument. He was one of the founders of the style that would become bebop. He was the first major soloist on the electric guitar. With Christian, the electric guitar became a distinct solo voice, equivalent to a saxophone, trumpet, or clarinet, and capable of the same levels of expressiveness and intensity. His music is embedded in the very core of all guitar playing, influencing blues, rock, country, and popular electric guitar. Charles Henry Christian, born July 29, 1916, sprung from the heart of America in a place where one would not have thought of as having jazz roots, Oklahoma. Although born in Bonham, Texas, his family relocated to Oklahoma City when he was 5 years old. Charlie was the youngest of 3 children born to musician parents. Clarence, his father, played trumpet, while their mother, Willie Mae, played piano. To earn extra money, Clarence and his sons composed and played musical accompaniments to silent movies that played in local theaters. Clarence, although blind, would take his sons with him to play for money on street corners. Charlie played a rudimentary guitar, most oftentimes homemade out of cigar boxes and broom handles. Clarence passed away when Charlie was 12. Charlie's skills became evident early on, and as he became enamored with the music of his day, he began to absorb the influences around him at an astonishing rate. Although he learned the rudiments from his father, as his interest grew, he began taking guitar lessons from James Simpson, a trumpet player in his big brother's band, as well as from Ralph Hamilton, a local guitar talent. Writer and family friend Ralph Ellison noted that the range of Charlie's influences were deep, wide-ranging, and varied. One of those influences that seemed to have turned up in Charlie's work was sax player Lester Young. Christian became infatuated with Young's notorious long-ranging solo lines and worked them stylistically into his own work as a guitarist. At the time, the guitar had been relegated to primarily a background rhythm instrument on the bandstand. Even though there were several tremendous rhythm and lead players at the time, including the legendary Django Reinhardt, who is universally acknowledged as one of the very few true masters of the guitar, the instrument simply wasn't loud enough to compete in a big band setting and be a standout instrument. Add to that, the fact that compositions simply weren't being written for an instrument that could not really be heard in a horn-heavy band. In the early 30s, some enterprising guitarists were experimenting with amplifying their guitars, some mechanically, and others electrically. One such inventive type was a jazz guitarist named Eddie Durham. In 1937, Durham and Christian met, and Durham taught Charlie what he knew about amplified guitars. Charlie took to it immediately. Christian, still based out of the Midwest, began to hook up with various local touring bands, alternating between playing guitar and bass. After touring through Minnesota, Nebraska, and Wyoming, Charlie found himself back in Oklahoma in 1939. One night, pianist and composer Mary Lou Williams heard Charlie play Django Reinhardt's solo St. Louis Blues note for note and was completely blown away. She immediately contacted promoter John Hammond. Hammond, with his incredibly keen ear for talent, stopped in Oklahoma on his way to Los Angeles for a recording date with Benny Goodman to hear Christian play. Hammond, much like Williams, and everyone else who had the chance to hear Charlie play, found him unbelievable and convinced a notoriously cranky Goodman to give Charlie an audition. "Who the hell wants to hear an electric guitar player?" asked Benny Goodman when producer John Hammond suggested he give Charlie Christian an audition in 1939. In its infancy at the time, the electric guitar became one of the defining sounds of 20th century American music, in no small part thanks to Christian's innovations on the instrument. There are many stories about the initial audition and what followed, but according to Christian himself, in a 1940 interview in Metronome magazine, "I guess neither one of us liked what I played," he said, of the August 1939 audition. There are stories that Christian showed up for the audition dressed in a bright-colored suit. This can't be verified, but suffice it to say, it didn't sit well with Goodman, who thought Charlie to be unsophisticated, and a hic. Christian said that despite not doing well on the initial audition, Goodman invited him to the show that evening at the Victor Hugo restaurant in Los Angeles. Hammond decided to sneak Christian onto the bandstand unbeknownst to Goodman. The bandleader was not pleased at the surprise and decided to play Rose Room, a song he felt that Charlie wouldn't know. But Charlie had been playing the song for years, and when the band struck up, Charlie jumped right in at the chorus. The band ran through 20 choruses and Christian played differing versions each time, and each one seemed even better than the one before. The song went on for over 40 minutes. By the end of the song, Christian was in the band. Christian's fame soared as a member of the Benny Goodman Sextet and Orchestra from August 1939 to June 1941, the most popular band of the time. By 1940, Charlie Christian was riding the top of the polls as the king of jazz and swing guitar players, as well as being named to the Metronome All-Stars. Goodman's next move was the formation of a new sextet featuring Charlie, Count Basie, and trumpeter Cootie Williams. It was another stunning success as the sextet again topped the polls, and again Charlie was named to the Metronome All-Stars. Charlie had become a bona fide star. Rose Room is often regarded as one of Charlie Christian's greatest and most iconic songs. The song showcases Christian's electrifying guitar playing and innovative use of single-string technique. Solo Flight established Christian as one of the most important members in Goodman's big band. He elevated the guitar from a rhythm instrument to a solo voice, captivating audiences with his virtuosity. This recording was widely played on the radio, and this helped inspire generations of guitarists to explore new possibilities. His single-string technique, combined with amplification, helped bring the guitar out of the rhythm section and into the forefront as a solo instrument. For this, he is often credited with leading to the development of the lead guitar role in musical ensembles and bands. He was the world's first electric guitar hero. But Charlie felt that he had energy to burn that equaled his love for being on the bandstand. Famed jazz musician John Minton had opened a club called Minton's in Harlem. Charlie would oftentimes finish a full set in the studio with Goodman's sextet and then head uptown to play at Minton's. Minton's had become a favored haunt of both local and visiting jazzmen, and Charlie quickly became a fixture at the joint during the after-hours jams that would oftentimes extend until 4 a.m. It was at Minton's that Charlie got to play with some of the most impressive names in jazz: Dizzy Gillespie, Kenny Clarke, Thelonious Monk, and the young Charlie Parker. It was during these late-night jams where the formation for bebop began. On May 12, 1941, at Minton's, Christian delivered an electrifying performance of Swing to Bop. Christian's solo stood out for its length and improvisational brilliance. Unlike his more restrained solos with Goodman, here he unleashed his creativity, weaving intricate lines and pushing the boundaries of what the guitar could do. This is one of Charlie's longest and most exciting solos, where he could really let loose in a casual jam session. The May 1941 Minton's jam sessions are close to the last times that Charlie Christian's guitar playing was ever recorded. Shortly afterwards, with his health worsening as a result of tuberculosis, and possibly aggravated by the hectic late-night lifestyle of the jazz world, he was admitted to Seaview Hospital on Staten Island. Reports in the music press of his condition gave a mixed view as to whether he was recovering or getting worse. But on March 2, 1942, Charlie Christian passed away at the age of 25. America and the world had plunged into war. The big band era had less time left than its leaders could have imagined, and in just 15 years the electric guitar would become the primary instrument of popular music. Charlie Christian wouldn't be around to hear it, but the music that he played in the short span of less than 24 months, between the autumn of 1939 and the spring of 1941, continues to reverberate down through the ages to today. The diverse lineage of players who descended from Charlie Christian's musical paternity is extensive. Before Christian, guitarists were predominantly unamplified acoustic musicians who were relegated to strict rhythm guitar roles in an ensemble. With Christian, the electric guitar became a distinct solo voice, equivalent to a saxophone, trumpet, or clarinet, and capable of the same levels of expressiveness and intensity. It can be said without qualification that his pioneering efforts with the electric guitar resulted in a liberating of the instrument, in jazz specifically, and in music generally. From Christian, it is possible to draw a comprehensive and well-defined timeline connecting the subsequent contributions of Barney Kessel, Tal Farlow, Herb Ellis, Chuck Wayne, Kenny Burrell, Wes Montgomery, Joe Pass, and George Benson. Furthermore, his electric guitar playing proved highly influential to important blues, pop, and early rock players such as T-Bone Walker, B.B. King, Chuck Berry, and Scotty Moore. It is safe to say that every guitar player since then has a bit of Charlie Christian in his or her musical DNA. This is Robert from One Track Jazz. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe.